Hi there, you're listening to the Guitar Speak podcast, the show produced in Sydney, Australia, where I speak to leading guitarists and guitar figures from all around the world. My name's Matt Wakeling, and thank you so much for joining me for episode number 89. Now today I speak to one of my favourite Australian players, Steve Edmunds. Such a great player, singer, songwriter, absolutely amazing strat player, such a great tone in all he does. As a guitarist, Steve has recorded and toured with people such as Jimi Barnes, Billy Thorpe, Renee Geyer, Human Nature, Delta Goodrem, Shannon Noll, Doug Parkinson, Matt Finch, the Hippos, Doug Williams, the Australian Idol Band, and many more. And as a frontman, he's fronted his own bands throughout many festival gigs and residencies, and lots of work as the Steve Edmunds Band. Steve joins us on his way to a gig. Actually, he was driving down to the beautiful south coast of New South Wales to Ulladulla to play a gig, and so we had to talk to him in the car, and he talked to us about the Sydney Guitar Festival, the great Hendrix show coming up there, where Steve and a bunch of other fantastic players are putting on that show, what it's like to pull killer strat tones on any guitar known to man, whether he likes it or not, and his latest EP, Chakras, which is really fantastic mini album. All right, let's jump straight into it. Here's Steve Edmunds in his car driving down the coast. All right, Steve Edmunds, welcome to the Guitar Speak podcast.
Thanks, Matt. It's a pleasure to be with you.
Great, man. Great to have you. Now we're going to talk about the Jimi Hendrix tribute show called Purple Haze, which is part of the Sydney Guitar Festival this year. But I'd love to speak about a bunch of things with you, including your new EP and as well as that gig. Now, that gig coming up's got a great lineup, man. Jack Houston, Peter Northcott, Di Pritchard, Grant Walmsley, Chris Camzalis, Brett Williams, Steve Williams, Joel McDonald, and yourself. But man, you've been playing Hendrix shows for a long time. You're in fact on the flyer for the gig. The Sydney Guitar Festival have named you as a Hendrix expert.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't know about an expert, but I do. I love him as much as anyone else, and I do my own kind of Hendrix tribute, which is not to say, it's a concept, because if you know anything about Hendrix, you kind of realise that it's a hard thing to nail down, because it was so free and so jam-like and so different every time.
Sure.
That would be a lifetime's commitment to actually, go down that path. I'm, I guess, fortunate enough to love all sorts of music and everything else, lots of different styles of guitar. So I don't really feel the necessity to do a tribute, but we do a concept where we play, an hour and a half of his kind of more popular stuff, and we interpret that, and I interpret it the best way I can. So that's kind of it, yeah.
Yeah, cool, man.
So I've been doing that for a while.
Yeah, great. Do you recall the first time you heard Hendrix?
Do I recall, sorry?
The first time you heard Jimi?
Yeah, I do actually. Yeah. Well, I think the first time was watching. I think it was Monterey Pop on TV when I was in second or third class. It came on in the afternoon. So, and that was that whole festival and the whole movie that they showed on television was a real moment, in my musical life. But after that, I played. My dad's a drummer, and I played drums for a long time. 10 years odd, and studied with him, and was very serious about being a drummer. And I was a drummer when I was introduced to a local guitar hero, and it was he he introduced me. He left me a tape and introduced me to Jimi much later on while I was in high school, and that was a real eye opener. That was a bit more of an intense kind of awakening to Jimi Hendrix. Yeah.
Wow. And what did you take from him as a player? How did he influence your own learning of the guitar?
Oh, well, just the whole, song, the songs, it was amazing that each vehicle, for the songs, was different. Each of the songs were really unique and different, the ballads and then the way he played blues, and then, his psychedelic thing, and then his pure popness, and, just there's so many, there was rap in there. There was so many different things before they became popular kind of things. There's so much invention and so much uniqueness and creativity in all the songs, and it was really, being a young person, the songs that really made it possible for me to remember.
Yeah, sure. Yep. Yeah, I mean that's a huge thing, isn't it? Everyone thinks of him as the guitar hero, the guy setting his guitar on fire, but the songs were so strong.
Yeah, so I think that's really it. And then of course, on another level, there's the way he used the guitar in all these songs, and then on a technical level above that, there's the incredible, effects and technique and freeness and avant-garde sort of jazz quality that he has, and just incredible musicianship as well. So, as well as singing and writing them, and
Yeah, absolutely.
So it was all just one package of mind-blowingness.
Yeah, man. Yeah, the whole package. Like, it's incredible. It's incredible.
Yeah,
There's a great guitar lineup. As I mentioned, I ran through those names, and a bunch of them I've seen on maybe similar shows. Steve, I saw you at the Gary Moore Remembered gig, which must have been 2016 now, with a bunch of these guys as well. Peter Northcott was on that one, and Chris Kamzalis. What do you like? What do you enjoy about doing these kind of shows with a bunch of other guitar
Chris.
players?
Yeah, we played together a little bit. We did the first Australian Idol tour together, the live tours.
Oh yeah, cool.
And we also played with Shannon Noll after that for about a year. I think it was on and off. So I love Chris, and it's been amazing watching his amazing tone and taste develop. So he's an absolute monster now, and his tone is. His strat tone is something else. You really want to make sure you guys check it out.
Mate, do you know what songs you're playing yet? Are you allowed to divulge?
Yeah, I think so. My songs are All Along the Watchtower.
Awesome.
Which is a Dylan song. But, of course, Hendrix made that very popular for himself. And then I'm doing Castles Made of Sand, which is an interpretation of that masterpiece. And then I'm doing a thing with Randall. I'm sharing a song with Randall. Well, it's more. I'm sharing a medley that we put together.
Oh, cool, man.
Yeah, and it's kind of the intro of Burning of the Midnight Lamp into Manic Depression, and then it goes into the live kind of Isle of Wight version of In From the Storm.
Okay.
So
cool.
it's just this building kind of a thing, and it's cool. It's good fun, and it knocks out another 3 Hendrix tunes that wouldn't normally be played.
Yeah, nice.
So,
That'll be cool for the diehards who want to hear that stuff as well. That's cool.
Yeah, and there's some great, just great, exciting guitar and musical devices in that thing, which is a good listen to.
Yeah, nice. Very cool. Hey, I liked earlier you used that word interpret. So when you approach something like All Along the Watchtower, that's one of the amazing things about that song is it's got the different guitar solos stacked up. There's the the wah solo, the octave
Yeah.
solo,
Well,
the
well,
acoustic.
I do try and keep that fairly close. Well, as close as I can remember at the time.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
Cool.
I mean, there are. You know, so I kind of, and I even do the slide.
Oh, nice.
I interpret the slide thing.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, that's fun. That's trippy, that part.
So that All Along the Watchtower can get a bit jammy, if you know what I mean. So I do try and keep the melodies and the main points pretty strong, as strong as I can. You know, yeah.
Nice, man. What's your rig these days? I want to talk about your EP Chakras because the tones on that record knocked me out. So when you
which record?
the Chakras EP.
Okay, well that on that record, that was recorded at Rod McCormick's studio, and that album was recorded on just a standard bassman that he had there.
Oh, okay.
It just a standard combo. So that was it. And just some pedals. I used a GNI drive pedal, and that was pretty much it.
Okay.
The rest is his EQ and compression on the desk.
Wow, man. Awesome.
Yeah, but it's just the strat through a drive pedal and that GNI drive and into just like a bassman combo. So that's it.
Wow, man, that's awesome. That's killer because that's funny actually. You're the only Australian guitarist I've spoken to who's using a GNI pedal. I had Andy Timmins on the show early on in the show, and he busted one out on his most recent album, but I haven't heard any Aussies playing one. That's cool.
Yeah. Well, I kind of I bought it for that Octavia thing that he uses it for.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. I kind of I heard him talking about it, so I thought I'd give it a go. But you know, the drive is amazing. It works with so many different amps. You know, I mean, a lot of drive pedals. They won't speak to an amp, you know, if you will. So, but this thing's great, man. You can use it with a Fender amp, and you can also use it. You know, it sounds. It's just. It's not too compressed, and it's not too. Bottly. You know, it's really a nice big wide thing, and the tone works great on it. If you want to add that compression, you can use the tone knob on it. But of course, it also has a fuzz. There's three settings on it.
Okay, yeah.
And the first one, the fuzz is fantastic too. You know, so I just wish you could separate them, but you've actually got to bend down and click them.
Yeah.
But but the Octavia is sensational and it's great. And most Octavias really start fluting past the 12th fret. You know.
Okay.
Whereas this thing, you know, it's not bad all over the neck. You still get a nice octave, you know, a clear kind of a vibe with it. So yeah, I love it. Yeah.
Cool, man. Man, it is versatile because it's. I think Timmins is using it more of a that fuzz Octavia, but on your EP for some of the stuff, like on Little Something, there's just that beautiful, sweet kind of mid-rangey thing. In my head, I was thinking like maybe a Tube Screamer sort of an idea with that mid-range kind of push.
Well, Little Something is a telly. It's actually a telly.
Okay.
With a Gretsch TV Jones Gretsch pickup in it.
Oh, nice, man.
So for the solo, for the rhythm parts, that's the Rory Gallagher Strat with John Sir pickups in it.
Okay, nice.
going through the basement. So so that was that. But yeah, just for that solo, I kind of cleaned it up a little. I wanted to try and get a little, but it doesn't matter what I play, man. It sounds like a strat. Now, I don't know why. It's just one of them things, you know. It's like, man, I've got hollow body guitars, and my friends go. I was walking up the stairs, I could hear it, and it sounded like a strat, you know. So, I don't know. I'm cursed. I've got a bunch of guitars. They all sound exactly the same. So, it's bizarre.
That's awesome. How about something like The Change? Because that to me it sounds like Steve Edmunds via James Brown and SRV all in one. It's so great, man.
Thanks, man. Well, you know, I wanted to get, you know, something funky and a little sort of, you know, darker and kind of meaningful and sardonic in the sense that, you know, it was because of the lyrical content of the song. But that was great because we got to have a blow. Well, Clayton came in and played the keyboards after we tracked, and I was there, and I just said, let's just have this section and let's just exchange a few phrases, you know. So we haven't got long, but let's just try and wing it and try and hopefully it'll fall lucky, you know, because we weren't really counting, and we were kind of aware of how long we'd given the solo section to finish. You know, and I said, you know, you're here, or rather than it just being this huge long guitar thing, how about we exchange, you know, a few phrases each, and hopefully it'll land. And it kind of did, you know. It came really, really close enough for Rod. If Rod said, you know, that sounds great, well then fine, you know, that's what we went with. So, you know, so that's kind of what happened. But that was the real. It was just, you know, I think it was about the second or third take we kind of felt it out and figured out what we were going to do, and it got, you know, it was fun. It was really fun. So that was the beauty of that track, you know. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, it is fun. It is fun. Yeah, the back and forth is cool. Love that.
Yeah.
Cool. So what's the second half of the year look like for you? You mentioned doing sideman work earlier. It seems these days you're full tilt doing your own thing.
Yeah. I'm trying to, you know, do my own thing and fill the book and work, you know, and work. We just had a baby, so I haven't really been practicing a lot.
Sure. Yeah.
You know, it's a while. It'll be a while before I kind of. But I'm still buying heaps of gear. So, you know, that's cool. That's keeping me, you know, keep making me sound better. So yeah, so that's cool. But I've got I've got a rockabilly band that I do with my wife. Well, until we just had this last baby.
Yeah.
So which is good. It's fun. I kind of dig the rockabilly thing because there's so many jazz cats that played it, you know, as session guys, and then of course you've got Setso, which is a beacon in itself of playing and knowledge and coolness. So that, and then you've got all those, you know, all those other guys that played with Gene Bits and played, you know, that session all throughout, all that stuff. And there's some great songs, and you play for dancers, which I find most rewarding.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a really cool thing to do, because it's hard to do the Steve Edmunds Band 3 nights a week, 50 weeks a year, which is what I basically aim for.
Yeah, sure.
But, you know, and I have done it in the past, but it's easier if I can take 3 or 4 dates out of the month, and I do this band called Mescalero with Kim.
Yeah,
and
nice.
we just do like some swing stuff, and there's plenty of, I mean, it's still a trio with a double bass player, Jordan Jordan C. Thomas, who's a fantastic guitarist in his own right, but just and an amazing singer, and of course an incredible double bass player too. So he plays double bass in this band, and Tony Georgeson's playing drums, and it's a swing kind of jump, rockabilly, surf guitar. We've written some instrumentals, and I have an album out with, so it's about 40% original, and then 60% rockabilly, rock and roll, surf guitar, jump blues hits. You know what I mean? Just to keep everyone on the ball. And there's plenty there. I mean, just learning that stuff. There's a career and a lifetime's worth of work in trying to get that stuff happening. So I'm doing that. And then I just bought a new airline guitar, an airline tuxedo.
Oh, okay, yeah, cool.
Yeah, I can't say I'm the biggest Junior Watson fan on the planet. And because Dino probably is, Dino DeVitis is probably the biggest Junior Watson fan on the planet. He is a spectacular guitar player, a blues man from Newcastle, who isn't gigging enough for my liking, but he's the man. So, but I love Junior, and he's been playing these smaller body harmony things, and harmony. Anyway, I years and years of research and admiring these things. I finally picked one up and got it shipped over, an airline tuxedo, which is great. And so I've got that, and it's really inspired me to get back to playing the blues. So I'm going to do a blues band, or I think I'm going to do a blues band, maybe with a keyboard player too, and just dig deep into that and do some work and get some of that stuff happening. So that I'm really looking forward to. I'm really inspired to do that because the tones out of this thing, it's got some P90s in it. They're kind of a little bit overwound, little fatter, and super, octal kind of sound, and really, very, really inspiring. So I'm keen. I'm really keen to give that a whack. So I don't know if I'll be able to get it together, within a couple of months, but I've got the players that I want in mind, and so maybe that'll be gigging too in the new year too, as well as Freedom Stand and Escalera.
Great, man. That's awesome. Good to hear. Plenty going on, and of course the Purple Haze, the Jimi Hendrix tribute at the Sydney Guitar Festival on August the 11th at the Concourse Theatre. Hey, Steve, thanks so much for your time, man, especially on the road, heading down to Ulladulla for your gig tonight.
Yeah, thanks, Matt. Thanks for having us on the show and that. And, the show is absolutely fantastic. I did mean to talk a little bit more about the show. They're all better than me. They're all fantastic guitar players. I'm really lucky to be there. I pinch myself, and it's just an amazing gig and a tribute to the greatest of all. So, can't go wrong.
That's cool. Hey, man, it's funny. I've had about half the lineup on my podcast, and they will all say the same thing. They'll all say I'm the worst guitarist there. I'm checking out everyone else.
It does mess with your head, man. It does mess with your head. Especially, you got to play after Peter or after Jack, or after any of them, It's just, you kind of want to hide as far away from the band as you can and just try and time it so that you don't really have to hear anything before you play. But, it's fantastic. But hey, Matt, give me a ring anytime, man. It's been such a gas to talk to you. I'd love it if you rang up and we could talk some guitar and pedals. It'd be unreal. Yeah,
man, for sure. I'd love that too. All right, we'll keep in touch and have a great gig. And I'll, if not before, I'll see you on August the 11th.
Okay, man. Cheers.
Okay, thanks, mate. Bye. See ya. All right, there you go, my conversation with Steve Edmunds. Good guy and an amazing musician. And nice shout out he gave to our friend Chris Kamzalis as well, who is an unbelievably great guitar player who, I concur, man, pulls fantastic strat tones. So takes one to know one, I reckon. So very cool to know Steve and Chris did all those gigs. I had no idea. So that's pretty cool. All right. Hey, I want to give a shout out to Chris Marrick from Marrick Media, who has hooked up these last few interviews for the Sydney Guitar Festival. So speak to Steve in today's show, Kaki King, Albert Lee. It was really great to speak to those people, and many thanks to Marrick Media. All right, just about to go. Remember, we're on Facebook and Instagram. You can support us through Patreon, and you can subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, iHeart Radio, or Stitcher Radio, or pretty much anywhere you can get podcasts these days. All the links to all our stuff are in our show notes, so you can check them out. All right, I'm Matt Wakeling. You've been listening to the Guitar Speak podcast. Thank you so much for joining me, and we'll catch you next time. Bye now.